Yo, yo, algebrainiacs! Welcome to the Johnson-Kendro video hour.
But it's not an hour.
One of these days, I tell ya. All right, two variable inequalities. Fun, fun. We're going to graph lines and absolute values with shaded regions. So inequalities means you're going to shade because there's a big area of answers, not just one single answer.
Is that like when we did the number line and we did this and then shaded one way?
Well, that's a one-dimensional or two-dimensional. We're going to do bigger dimensional.
Okay, but similar.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, first step, graph the line. We have y equals mx plus b as our usual line, but this is y is less than mx plus b.
So we can kind of pretend for graphing purposes that it is this.
Right.
So let's do that. How do you graph that?
Okay, before you put any lines in, though, we have to check one thing.
What?
You have to check the less than or greater than symbol, because less than is going to be dashed. And then if it's less than or equal to, then you put a solid line.
That's like back when we did this and we had open circles and closed circles.
Okay.
Same kind of thing.
So we have less than, that means our line's going to be dashed. So we're just kind
Good to know.
of looking ahead here. Okay, graphing. You do the b first, the -3, put a dot.
Okay, that's coming from the y-intercept.
And then rise over run, up 1, over 2.
Up 1, over 2, up 1, over 2.
Dash, rip rock. There we go. That's from the Flintstones, if you didn't know.
I don't know.
Dash, rip rock. You didn't know?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I watched the Flintstones. but I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah, he's a really handsome movie star that Wilma falls in love with.
Oh.
And Fred gets jealous. Okay, the next one is shade above the line for greater than or greater than or equal to, and below for less than or less than or equal to.
Okay, now this is special. It's in a different color because it's special, because this only works if you have slope-intercept form. If you don't have slope-intercept form, you need to test a point, and we can talk about that in just one moment. So this inequality said less. So where are we going to shade?
Less is below.
Below, so you're going to shade the side of the line that is below.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about that testing a point thing. Let's pretend for a second I wasn't sure where to shade. What does that mean to test a point?
So pick a point in either section, either above or below.
And there's a really easy one to always choose.
Yep, that 0, 0 is a nice one to choose.
Okay, so what that means is...
Put a 0 in for x and a 0 in for y and see if it
okay.
comes out true.
So we're substituting 0 for y in the equation, and we're trying to figure out if this is true or false. 1/2 times 0 minus 3. Well, this turns to 0, so we end up with 0 less than -3.
That's not true.
Okay, so what that means is where this point is, the one we just tested, that is not a part of the shaded area, so that would be why we would shade the opposite part.
Okay. So
That always works, but I do think if you're graphing with slope-intercept form every time, it's above and below,
yeah.
which is nice.
I like to get it in slope-intercept because everything kind of works nicely with that form.
So that's a line. I think we got one more of those.
Okay. All right, try this by finding the intercept. So I see it's kind of in the ax plus by equals c form.
Right.
So we can try 0 in for x, 0 in for y.
Okay, so I'm going to pretend for a moment that it's an equal sign. 4x minus 2y equals 4. This will help us find our intercepts. You said put a 0 in for
Y.
so that just leaves us with 4x equal to 4. And then divide. So what's the x-intercept?
1.
That's 1, 0. Okay, the y-intercept.
Put a 0 in for x.
Okay, that will leave us with minus 2y equals 4. And then divide. That's the y-intercept.
-2.
That one's 0, -2. So that would be here and here.
Now, before you draw the line, let's double check. Okay, that means solid because it's got an equal sign with it. Very nice.
Now, did we graph using slope-intercept form?
No.
So that means we must test a point.
Okay.
So if we plug a 0 in there and a 0 in there,
You get 0 minus 0 is 0, less than or equal to 4. That is true.
that is true. So that means wherever we put our point is in the shaded area.
Okay.
So I'm going to shade this side of the line.
Yeah, because it does say less than, you'd think you shade below, but we didn't use y equals mx plus b.
Now the directions said try this by finding the intercepts. I wrote that on there just so the kids could see us do one of each, but you said you like doing slope-intercept form every time. So would it be okay to turn this to
get
slope?
y by itself?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you think we need to remember if we do that? I got lots of arrows and stuff going on here. But what about this thingy?
So you're going to divide both sides by -2, which
would flip the sign.
Yeah,
which would make it
that's why
greater,
it's
which is
great.
why it's shaded above.
that is making a lot of sense.
Yeah, it all works
It
out.
looks like an ocean wave on its side a little bit.
Oh, I
And
see what
did
you
you
mean.
take art class or not?
I did with Mr. Tiano.
Uh-huh. Yeah, see, the boat's having issues. Nice.
Oh yeah.
All right, onward, Captain. Okay,
So this is still an inequality, but it's different.
absolute value. That's a V for value shape.
Yep, I always think about these two little bars coming together and making a V.
Right, excellent.
All right, we need standard form, which is y by itself, basically. So
Okay.
how do we do that?
So we're going to graph the absolute value, but we have a 2 in front of it. Oh, we're going to get y alone. Let's subtract the 1.
Can I do it in here?
Those are prison bars.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Can't go through them.
Can't do that. Outside, so that's gone. Y is less than 2. Absolute value, x plus 1 minus 1.
All right. Now, that is our H and K form.
Yep.
And we've got an A in the front.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to graph a shape chart, meaning like the first chart without any movements left or right or up or down.
Yeah, we did that in the 2-7 lesson.
Yeah.
So they should be ready for that, I hope.
Okay.
Okay, so the shape chart does not include H and K. And we can pretend again for a moment that it's equal. So what are we making the chart for?
2A or 2X.
2 absolute value x. And we know that absolute values are symmetrical, so we can pick just easy ones like 0, 1, and 2.
Okay.
So if you plug in a 0 for x,
0 for Y.
oh yeah, okay. How about 1? Absolute value 1 is
2. Well, 1 times 2, yeah.
I know, you were a step ahead.
And
then-
4.
Okay, so that would look like this. And they're symmetrical, so I can reflect, just like we talked about in 2-4. So that would be the graph for just the shape chart.
Okay.
But we've got some shifting happening. We've got this and this, the H and the K. So where's it going?
Going left 2, or sorry, left 1 and down 1.
All right, so this would be, oh, I shouldn't use dotted. See, I used dotted in the last video. Left 1 and down 2, I'm going to take my little vertex here. And now you got me saying 2. Aw.
My bad.
Okay, this is where it goes.
Yeah.
And then we're going to recreate that shape from there. And if you can do the V shape without the original, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this going to be a solid or a...
It's going to be dotted or dashed. Like dash rip rock.
Right, which none of us... We better look it up.
Yeah, we might have to Google him.
Okay. They're shading.
Okay, so this one, we didn't do, well, yeah, we did do y equals mx plus b.
Yeah, as long as you get the Y by itself, it's above or below.
So it says less than. Now,
So it's below the V.
think of the rain falling and where you're going to stay dry.
Oh, I like that.
It's below. So you're shading where you're going to stay dry.
I got a crazy question.
Oh boy.
What if it were upside down? And it was Y is less than?
So you still shade below. Where you're going to stay dry is below the roof line.
That's good.
All right.
All right. We have to do a couple others where you have to write your own equation from a given
Ooh.
line or possibly absolute value. So don't mind my silly shading.
Okay.
You don't have to shade the triangle. It's just how I got it to be
Gotcha. The light
see-through.
green is just shaded on that side.
Correct. So is this a line or an absolute value?
It's a line.
Okay, so y equals mx plus b is probably the best way to go.
Uh-huh.
So maybe we could start with an intercept.
So where does it cross the y-axis? Looks like at 2 there.
Okay, so that's going to be the b, plus 2. Something x plus 2.
All right. So from there, can we rise and run
Okay.
to another dot?
I think maybe there.
Okay.
It really doesn't matter if you pick the next one or just a
Okay.
later on one. So to get there, I would rise negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And run.
And I would run 1, 2, 3, which is the same as.
-2.
Okay, that's the slope. Now we got to decide about our symbol. Are we doing slope-intercept form?
Yes.
So we can do that above or below thing.
So
Kind
it's
of in
below.
reverse. So it's got to be less.
Mhm.
And then we have to decide if it's equal to or not.
It's not
Because
it's dotted.
it's dotted or dashed.
So we're done.
That's it.
Sweet.
Nice. All right, these are always tricky.
Ooh. So it's the horizon line, horizontal, which means 0 for slope.
So there is
it's
no
gonna
x.
be y equals nothing plus something. Yeah. Nothing slope. 0 slope plus
Yeah.
something.
And think, special case lines, horizontal or vertical, it goes through the y-axis, so it will be y equals a number.
Whatever that number is
Yeah, and
going
if it's
through.
vertical, it's going to be x equals a number. So what is y going through? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Then shading, above or below.
Above.
So it's greater, and I
And
notice
equal.
it's solid.
Right. And
So
y
it's-
is by itself, so we can do that shading that way. Okay, shading to the left, so that's x equals -3.
Because it's vertical this time.
Yeah.
And then -3 you said, and then, okay, this time above or, excuse me, above or below doesn't work, but
But less or greater, so
Yeah.
less than, because it's shaded to the
now
left.
these are smaller x's.
Yeah.
And is it
Equal
equal?
to, yeah, solid line.
All right.
Ooh, an absolute value, because it's a V shape.
Okay. Well, we know absolute values eventually have to look kind of like this, -h plus k.
All right, well, I know we moved left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So h is 5, and then we moved down 2. So k would be 2 plus 2, or down 2, yeah, minus. Now we can put our x in. Now we got to figure out what a is.
This is tricky, but
It's kind of like slope.
I was just going to say that. It is kind of like, whoop, I didn't want to erase my yellow. Oh well. So think about how do we get to the next one from there. It's kind of like a rise over a run.
Yeah, so up 1 over 1.
Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. That means this a or the slope is like a 1, which they
So
could.
we don't really need
Yeah,
that.
we don't need to write that. What about the shading stuff?
Well, it's below, and y is by itself, so we can do that. And it's a solid line,
So
so
it's equal.
Yeah.
Sweet.
that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that's actually easier than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Looks like we got one more slide here.
Oh, look who's come to say hello! It is Mr. Dash Riprack himself.
I've never seen him in my life.
See, I wasn't lying.
He loves Johnson Kendra video
He
hours.
does.
That's
What a
awesome.
guy.
Yeah.
Ta-ta!